Thanks so much, and welcome, everybody. Well, after 42 years, the hiatus is about to end this weekend. We have a spectacular doubleheader that'll be seen live on HBO this Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. West Coast as well, live from Omaha. We will be coming from Omaha, Nebraska, at the CenturyLink Center for the first major world championship fight. It'll be native son and undefeated Terence Crawford taking on equally undefeated and a multi-world champion himself, Yuriorkis Gamboa of Cuba, taking on, they'll be battling for Crawford's newly won WBO lightweight championship. Also on the card, opening up the telecast, will be undefeated contenders Matt Korboff, number one in the WBO, and Jose Uzagagwe of number two in the WBO in a 10-round WBO Intercontinental Middleweight title fight. So altogether, these gentlemen have a 91-0 record, 63 knockouts. It's on paper at least a spectacular show. And on with us today, we have Mr. Gamboa, along with Tony Gonzalez, who will be translating for us, and Yvette Gale, who is the Vice President of SMS Promotions. And on behalf of Terence Crawford, with Terence, we have his co-managers, Cameron Duncan and Brian McIntyre. And before we get to the fighters and their camps, it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Vice President of Top Rank, who I believe probably matched the undercard of this fight back in 1972 when Joe Frazier took on Ron Stander. That'd be Carl Moretti. Carl?
Good, Fred. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate that, Fred. And there's no truth to the rumor that we banned Bob from the conference call. Bob is at home resting comfortably from his knee replacement surgery, but I know he'll be watching the show on Saturday night, so we obviously pass along our well wishes. Not much to say that what Fred has covered. 4 undefeated fighters featured on HBO, a solid middleweight fight to open it up with, it's pronounced Jose Uzcategui, Fred, future reference, and Matt Korboff, which should be the mandatory for Peter Quillen, the victor. And in the main event, the hometown kid, Terence Crawford, makes his first defense of the title that he won over in Scotland against Ricky Burns, against one of the best amateurs ever and clearly a solid pro and worthy contender for this title, Yuriorkis Gamboa. So without further ado, Fred, let's open it up for questions and see what we got.
All right. Before we do that, Tony, if we could get a few comments from Mr. Gamboa, now that he's in Omaha, how things went in training camp and what he anticipates happening this Saturday night.
Ya que estás en Omaha, Yuri, ¿qué nos puedes decir sobre el campo de entrenamiento y la anticipación que tú tienes para el combate?
Hemos realizado todos los preparativos que se preparó para esta preparación y estamos ya ansiosos porque va a pelear.
No, I'm very anxious to get to the fight. Luckily, throughout training camp, I met all the objectives I needed for a game plan for this fight, and I'm just excited to get back into the ring this Saturday.
Terrific. And before we bring Terence on, let's hear a few minutes from his co-managers. Cameron, I'll let you go first, followed by Brian.
I'm just really excited for Terence and Brian both. They were out in Omaha and they've come so far, and we had a plan all along, that we would get here, and a lot of people thought we were crazy, and we're here, and I'm really, really excited for them. Look for a great fight. Gamboa is a great fighter, and going to be a terrific fight.
Brian, any comments?
Yeah, I just want to tell Gamboa thanks for accepting the fight. I'm excited for Terence to showcase his talent, his skills on this level again and in his hometown. I'm expecting a great fight.
Thanks, Brian. Terence, welcome home. I had the pleasure of speaking with Ron Stander just the other day, and he was conveying to me the excitement of having a hometown challenge against Joe Frazier back when they fought 42 years ago. Now, it's a little different for you because you're actually defending a title where he was fighting for one. How are you feeling leading up to this fight this Saturday night?
Well, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling ready.
This is what I've been asking for all along, and now that we're here, you know, I'm just ready for the moment.
Sounds great. Operator, we're ready to take questions if you'd like to give the media instructions on how to ask.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press the number 1 key on your telephone. Again, if there are any questions, please press the number 1 key on your telephone. Our first question is going to come from Dan Raphael with ESPN. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Terence, my question for you is, when you won the title in Scotland against Ricky Burns, were you thinking that you saw the hometown support that Burns had there? Was it in your mind that your first defense of the title would be in Omaha? I know Bob Arum had talked about that, but is that what you thought would happen? And how important was it to you personally to be able to come home for the first defense and defend your title?
Yeah, that was my goal, to make my first defense in Omaha. And, I was real pleased with Bob keeping his word. And now that we're here, I'm just happy for everything. Me, my city, my family, my fans that never got to see me perform live, professional-wise. I'm just ready for the moment.
Now, has there been any, you hear about guys fighting at home. Sometimes there's distractions. Everybody wants to call you up for tickets. Everybody wants you to be around. Are you feeling any of that? And if so, are you able to close it out? And Brian, if you could address that too, because you see what goes on there every day. And you also talk about if there are any distractions, how your camp is handling it. Terence, you could answer that first.
Well, no, I don't handle none of that. No selling tickets, no shirts, no nothing. So they can't call me for nothing. So I'm not worried about the distractions around.
Brian?
Well, we already had a game plan and planned out what everybody's job was going to be as far as the ticket goes, the shirts goes, any distractions or anything of that nature, to keeping Terence, secluded to where he needs to concentrate. We talked about that months in advance, and right now we're just executing the plan.
Hey, Terence, had you, Fred mentioned in the opening remarks, this is the first World Championship fight in Omaha in 42 years since Joe Frazier defended the heavyweight title. As a kid that grew up in Omaha and boxes, had you ever heard of that fight or have any knowledge of that fight or, its significance in the history of boxing in Nebraska, or is it news to you?
Oh, no, it was new to me. I never knew about it, until like a few years back, but I know now, and that's all that matters.
One other quick question for you, Terence. When I watched the press conference between you and Gamboa, it seemed to me that you were much, much bigger than Yuriorkis was. He's a former featherweight. Now he's up at lightweight. Did you feel like that the size difference, at least in terms of the height, is going to play a big factor in the way the fight plays out? And
well, like I tell everybody, you never know. Gamboa is a real skillful fighter. He probably can make adjustments like me, in the ring, and we'll just have to wait the fight night to see what happens.
Okay, and Tony, could you ask Yuriorkis the same question? Did he, he's a lot shorter than Terence is. I'm wondering, he's usually shorter than his opponents, but not that much shorter, it seems to me. Could you ask him if he thinks like that might be any kind of factor for him in this challenge for Terence's title?
I answered the question by just going back to my own professional history as to, I've been pretty much the smaller guy in most of my fights. So I don't think that it's something that really is going to affect much. I know how to adjust and I know how to come with a game plan, and it's something I've been dealing with ever since my amateur career. I've always been the smaller guy.
And is the layoff going to impact him? He has fought one time in 2012, one time in 2013. This will be his first fight in a year.
La segunda pelea en 2 años, esta va a ser la tercera. ¿Eso tú crees que también puede afectar?
Aquí nada más, aquí solamente uno tiene que enfocarse en lo que quiere hacer y eso es lo que...
Honestly, no. I just basically, as long as I'm focused and I stayed active, I know I've stayed active, maybe not in fights, but, you know, doing what I need to do outside of the ring, you know, I think I'll be ready, and I know I'll be ready for this Saturday.
Okay, fellas, thank you very much. Have a great fight Saturday.
Our next question comes from Keith Idett with the Record. Please go ahead.
Yes, I have questions for Terence and Yuriorkis. Terence, I'm just wondering what you make of the way Gamboa has gone about trying to tweak you a little bit on Twitter. I mean, he's kind of said some weird, tweeted some weird things to you, some inappropriate things. Just wondering what your thoughts on that are and what you think maybe he's trying to get out of that.
Well, I just look at it as, you know, it's good for the sport of boxing. You know, that's something that he wants to do. You know, that's something that he wants to do. I don't take it any personal. I don't take it any offensive or nothing. I'm going to go in there and, you know, come Saturday, instead of texting, we're going to be looking eye to eye, you know, away from each other, and there's nothing you can text.
I agree and everything, but how good of a fighter do you think he is, and what type of different challenges does he present to you than Ricky Burns did?
Well, he's going to be a good challenge. You know, he's a great fighter. You know, like myself. You know, he posed speed. I never got hit by him, so I can't say power. You know, we'll just have to see Saturday.
How is he? I mean, obviously you're fighting this in your hometown as opposed to the other fighters' hometown and everything. But how is this different than the Burns fight? Obviously, they're very different fighters. Can you maybe tell me some of the different challenges that he presents to you?
Well, like I said, speed. You know, he got a little amateur experience. You know, but at the same time, I really can't say because they're two different fighters. You know, one tall, one short. One faster than the other, you know, so they fight two different styles.
I know you have to put a lot of this out of your head because, of course, you have to focus on the fight, but just in general, can you tell about how maybe proud you are and excited you are to bring this type of event to your hometown? And I know it's something you probably wanted your whole life.
I'm very proud, you know, that my managers, you know, Cameron Duncan and Brian McIntyre and my promoter, they came to see eye to eye to get the job done, you know, and I'm just blessed to have this here in Omaha right now.
Thank you, Terence. I have a question for Yuriorkis as well. Can you ask Yuriorkis what does he kind of feel like it's Saturday night or never for him in the respect that, you know, he's not really young anymore in boxing and hasn't maybe built the momentum that his talent says that he should? Does he kind of feel like this is his opportunity to take that next step, or maybe it might never happen for him?
Uno siempre toma como una opción para seguir adelante.
You know, it's like anything in a career. Obviously, it's a defining moment, and I plan to take full advantage.
Does he think that he's fought some talented guys? Does Yuriorkis feel that Terence is where does he feel Terence ranks among that? Although I'll probably be able to answer that better after Saturday. But where does he think he is talent-wise among the guys that he's fought?
En tu opinión, entre los que tú has peleado, obviamente vas a tener una mejor opinión después de la pelea del sábado. Pero viendo así el rival que tienes ahora enfrentando en Terence Crawford, ¿cómo tú lo categorizas entre todos los rivales que tú te has enfrentado?
Bueno, definitivamente hasta que no tengamos un combate y podemos cambiar y conocer lo que puede hacer al guerrero, puedo poner ese punto.
Honestly, just like you said, until I fight him on Saturday, I can't really respond or answer that question.
Thank you very much, guys.
Our next question comes from Lim Satterfield with Ring TV. Please go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, man.
Hey, I want to go back to something that Dan mentioned about the distractions. I remember talking to Devin Alexander the week of his fight with Lucas Matisse in St. Louis, and he said as soon as him and his manager landed, they had St. Louis sports teams there. There were demands on appearances and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, Cameron, Brian, and Terence, how you manage the demands of the promotion locally, especially that being, the first fight there in so long, and how do you balance that and handle that?
Well, we didn't have all that here. We've been keeping a low profile. When we got back in town, it wasn't a big entourage. We actually didn't let anybody know when we was coming back in town. So, it's been kind of cool. We just chilling, waiting on the fight.
Cameron, do you have any take on that? I mean, I know he's probably gotten demands for appearances, to talk about the history, to talk about the fight.
No, I leave that up to Brian. He lives there. These guys have lived there their whole life. And Brian and I were concerned about it, and we had a long talk about it. And, he said, I'm going to set everything up, and I'll keep all distractions. And we talked about it. We were concerned, but Brian did a great job. He put everybody, in different jobs around him. And so Terence is just focused on the fight and ready to go. And no, he hasn't had any distractions. Brian assures me he's ready to fight.
Terence, I know you obviously have a sense of the magnitude of this fight just from the knowledge, but do you have a sense when you walk around, when you just doing your daily travels in between training, of what the community is feeling? Because I know I have a nephew who lives there, and he's like on Facebook 2-3 times a week asking me about the fight.
Yeah, I have a sense, what the magnitude of the fight is. This is real big, not only for me, but for the city of Omaha, Nebraska. I feel like I give not only boxers, but other people and that's trying to, push sports into doing something positive with their stuff. I give them hope and, some uplift that they can be wherever they want to be. All they got to do is, believe and work hard at it.
Okay, thanks a lot. And as far as your style, people call you a switch hitter. People say you're a southpaw. How do you characterize your style? Because I know you have a really good right jab.
I just look at myself as, all around fighter. I don't look at myself as one-dimensional. I feel like I can change up in a lot of ways in the ring, and, I just feel like I'm flexible.
Okay, thank you so much, Terence. And I have a couple questions for Yuriorkis. Tony, you there?
Hey, Lam, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Tony?
Great, thank you, man.
I don't see anyone on Yuriorkis's resume with the combination of range and, kind of boxing ability, and his height, plus, the youth. In this situation, can you ask him to characterize how Terence, compares to the different guys he faces and what the challenge is for him on Saturday night?
I think he kind of semi-answered that in the previous question. They asked him to compare him to other fighters, and he said until he fights him, he really can't give a fair assessment.
What about his ability to change up? Can he talk about that aspect?
Hablar sobre la habilidad de Crawford poder cambiar de guardia en el transcurso de una pelea, cómo es una ventaja o desventaja.
Eso es algo que normalmente muchos boxeadores a veces hacen. Otros tienen una mayor habilidad de poder mantenerlo y dominar las dos guardias. Pero eso es parte del deporte.
Well, it's part of the sport. You're going to face guys that obviously are going to be able to switch up on you. Some, are going to be able to really, master both the southpaw stance and the orthodox stance, one better than the other, but it's something you got to deal with when you're in the sport. You're going to face different challenges. It's just a matter of getting prepared to address those challenges.
My last question for him, Tony, is when if ever, is the last time he can remember where he's going into the other guy's territory, and he's obviously going to be facing a hostile crowd as the challenger, or as the, some people say, even B-side in this promotion.
¿Cuándo tú podrías decir que es la última vez que tú te recuerdas yendo al patio de un rival, como en este instante, en la que cual obviamente puede crear un tipo de ventaja en esta pelea? Que tú te recuerdes.
La última vez yo creo que fue en Kazajstán, la última vez.
In Kazakhstan, the last time that I can remember, when we were in the amateurs.
It's been that long?
Así de largo, de tiempo.
La última vez fue en Kazajstán, porque el 2003 fue con Payano en los Juegos Panamericanos. El 2001 fue en Tailandia, en el 2006 fue que fue en Kazajstán.
Yeah, in 2006 in Kazakhstan. Yeah, I was in Kazakhstan in 2006.
Hey, thank you so much, Tony. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to ask a question, please press the number 1 key. Again, for questions and comments, please press the number 1 key. Our next question is going to come from Jay Smart with Billy C. Boxing Net. Please go ahead.
Hello. Good afternoon. I wanted to ask the champion a question in regards to the fight on Saturday. I'm curious about strategy. Seeing that Gamboa has been off for a while, also he's coming up in weight, is your strategy to jump on him early, especially since there's the prevailing wisdom that he has a questionable chin? Is this the strategy that you'll be adopting to attack that?
No, I never go in there looking at his past performances, thinking that's what he's going to be like. You know, I just go in there and fight my fight, and that's it. I don't go in there looking for the knockout. If it comes, it comes. If it don't, it don't. As long as I get the win.
Okay, my second question is to Gamboa. I'm curious, since he's been off for a while, he's moving up in weight, and he's fighting probably the best fighter he's met in his professional boxing career. Was he clamoring for this fight against the champion, or is this something his brain trust brought to him?
The question being, who made the decision on the fight?
Right.
Dice que obviamente es una pelea en la cual te puede lanzar a otro nivel. Es una pelea en la cual tú participaste en decidir a pelear con él, sabiendo que te puede lanzar como un trampolín al próximo nivel, o cómo es que se llevó a cabo la decisión a enfrentarse a Crawford.
Bueno, yo creo que esta decisión fue lo más porque primeramente queríamos pelear con Maki García, que era supuestamente campeón de las 130 libras que ya queríamos pelear. Pero bueno, definitivamente las opciones no se dieron y la gente de Top Round no puso esta opción. Necesitamos nosotros tener una pelea, aceptamos la pelea.
I think it's well known that the conversation, the dialogue between my team and Top Rank was to do a fight with Mickey Garcia. Unfortunately, that couldn't happen. There's some legalities there between them two that didn't allow the fight to take place. And then that's when Top Rank suggested to make this fight happen, which at the time we decided that was a good option, just as good an option as well. Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
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 Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next question, operator.
Our next question comes from Evan with Daria Las Americas. Please go ahead.
My question is for Gamboa, will be in Spanish. Mi pregunta va a ser para Gamboa en español. Queríamos saber, Yuriorkis, acerca de tu preparación y tu planteamiento para la pelea, dado que el rival es un boxeador mucho más alto que tú, que supera en alcance. Queríamos conocer un poco acerca de lo que es la preparación y el planteamiento para la pelea.
Hello? Tony, did you get that?
Sí, escucho.
Sí, la pregunta la repito. Mi pregunta es, dado que tu rival es mucho más alto que tú y te supera en alcance, queríamos conocer acerca de tu preparación y tu planteamiento para la pelea.
Bueno, realmente esto es algo que ha sido una continuidad en nuestra carrera deportiva a través de los años, enfrentando a boxeadores más altos. Lo que hemos hecho es hacer una buena preparación con boxeadores de mayor estatura para llevar a cabo y adaptarnos a la forma de entrar en el combate, en ataque y contraataque, similar a lo que va a pasar en la pelea con el boxeador Crawford, ya que también tiene una estatura alta.
Okay. Y por último, habla un poquito acerca del ambiente que hay en Omaha para esta pelea, porque como bien lo han dicho, es el primer combate de título mundial en mucho tiempo allá. ¿Cómo está la expectativa? ¿Cómo ve al público, la gente de la ciudad?
Bueno, realmente he visto mucha emoción aquí en la parte de lo que es las redes sociales, ya que físicamente no he visto a nadie personalmente. Sí sé que han habido personas ahí abajo tratando de tener una oportunidad de una foto conmigo, pero yo he estado en el horario de descanso. Pero por lo que veo, se ha emocionado mucho a esta gente y me han dicho por las redes sociales que yo no me imagino la cantidad de cubanos que hay aquí que van a venir a apoyar. Pero por esa parte estoy muy orgulloso.
Muchísimas gracias por todo y mucho éxito.
Gracias.
I think we have time for maybe two more questions because both these gentlemen have media workouts today. We don't want them to be late for that. So, operator, if we can go two more, and then we'll wrap up the call.
All right. The next one will come from Carl Freitag at Fight News. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello, this is a question for Terence. I talked to Gamboa about a week ago, and he told me that I asked him about fighting a tactical fighter with a style like yours, and he said he's been fighting fighters like that his whole life in Cuba, and that style's no problem for him. I'd like to ask you what you think that you're going to show him that he hasn't seen before. Hello?
Did you get that?
Hello?
Hello? He's translating.
Hello? No, it's not for Gamboa. That's the question on Crawford.
Terrence?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Did you get that question or you need to repeat it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to wait till Saturday. You know, the guys that he's probably fought and seen, I'm pretty sure that they don't have the same style as me. They probably have similar styles, but I don't feel like there's no one out there with the same exact style as me, so we're just going to see Saturday.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And one more question, operator?
Okay, our final question of the day will come from Jay Calderon at 12rounder.com. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This question goes for both guys. You are on paper pretty much identical in terms of record. You guys have faced a relatively similar level of opposition. What do you think about your style will be the one thing that allows for victory? This goes for both Crawford and Gamboa.
Was that for me?
I think it's for both. Terrence, why don't you go first?
You said, how will my can you repeat the question?
Due to the fact that your resumes are both similar, what do you think the one thing that you bring to the table will allow for victory?
Just me being myself. You know, me going in there and fighting my fight.
Tony, could you ask the same of Yuriorkis, please?
I just did. I'm waiting on the response.
La característica que tengo, pues soy un boxeador inteligente, un boxeador que sabe atacar y atacar bien, y que tengo buenos reflejos para poder.
I would say that my boxing IQ is I think is very high. That's one thing that a lot of people underestimate in me. Obviously, my physical abilities also give me an edge, I think, in a lot of the fights that I go into. My speed, my reflexes, and a combination of all those things, I think, is going to lead me to a victory this Saturday.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. I'm sorry we have an abbreviated call today, but everybody's hustling off to their media workouts, which will begin shortly in Omaha at B&B Gym. We'll get some last-minute comments. Yuriorkis, last comment to the media before you head off? Tony, are you still there? Terence, any last comments from you before we hang up?
Well, my comment is, good luck to Gamboa in this camp. We gonna be ready. Hope he's ready. And for all the fans out there, support me and Gamboa. Buy your tickets to the fight. Watch the fight. However you support it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Terence. Carl, any last words?
No, we'll have an update. I think you're going to put a release out either Thursday or Friday morning on an update on the tickets, just that we've opened up the upstairs. And, obviously this is a hot event here in Omaha, and we're looking forward to it.
And for those of you who cannot make it in Omaha, you can see it live on HBO beginning at 10 p.m. this Saturday night. It's Crawford Gamboa, two undefeated fighters with identical records fighting for the WBO Lightweight Championship. The first fight in 42 years coming out of Omaha, Nebraska. You'd have to go back to 1972 when Joe Frazier defended his title for the last time against Ron Stander. We look forward to seeing everybody at the press conference tomorrow. And for those of you who cannot make it, we hope you tune in and watch it live on HBO Saturday night at 10 p.m. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks all.